The match finally wraps up, and no one can quite tell whether Monroe even hears what Lu Sheng had to say. He just kneels there in a daze, while Lu Sheng meanwhile grows increasingly annoyed. He tells himself that he literally spared the guy a whole life, yet not even a tiny apology. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have bothered at all. Anyway, he shrugs it off and vanishes from the arena, only to appear beside Far in the next heartbeat. Far, for his part, is genuinely surprised by the outcome. He congratulates Lu Sheng on the win, and then remarks that they should probably focus on the next opponent. But before he can finish that thought, Lu Sheng has already sprawled out on the ground. This time, he comes fully prepared with a blanket, pillow, and even an eye mask. He casually tells Far to wake him when it's time. And before the dude can even begin to protest, the sound of snoring fills the air. Of course, our boy isn't actually here to sleep. He had once again entered the dream realm, and he noted to himself that over the years, he had defeated countless opponents inside the dream realm. Now he carries more than 112,000 strands of martial will. Only when all of them merge is he barely able to create his third technique. The punch was crazy powerful, but no one knows how carefully he must guide and tether every shred of power just to keep it stable. Otherwise, the spillover alone could cause damage he can't even estimate. Tightening his fists, he decides to seize the moment and relive that sensation while it's still fresh. On the other side, the senator strokes his beard and remarks that the kid's strength is just monstrous. Lu Sheng has single-handedly shattered everyone's understanding of martial arts and extraordinary physiques. Before Lu Sheng appeared, all major tournaments only gathered contenders from 12 nearby star sectors, and none had ever produced an immortal level. People had heard of the legend, sure, but no one truly grasped what it meant. However, after this battle, he is certain that Lu Sheng is about to redefine the word entirely. The chief executor is delighted too. She didn't expect Yamu to harbor a talent of this level, yet she soon shakes her head with a wry smile, unsure what emotion to settle on. The impact of this fight is simply too immense, and she believed it may take a very long time for the world to digest it all. Furthermore, the shockwave of attention is so overwhelming that the following match, between Qian Yushu and another competitor, barely receives any notice. But those who do watch admit that Qian Yushu performs brilliantly, especially when his sword energy slices across the starry sky like a beam capable of cutting the heavens themselves. The applause, however, is sparse, but the guy himself didn't really seem to care, and from the look of it, he is still holding back his full power and wins the fight with ease. Only when the caster announces his victory do many spectators suddenly realize what they missed and regret not paying better attention. By then, Far has already woken Lu Sheng and tells him it's time to get on stage. Lu Sheng removes his eye mask, stretches lazily, and steps up to the railing. The tournament has finally reached the finals, and to most people, the outcome feels all but decided. Naturally, every gaze shifts toward him. Lu Sheng looks at Qian Yushu across the arena, unsurprised to find him there. The two lock eyes, their gazes colliding in midair. In the next instant, Lu Sheng appears on the stage. At this moment, he is undeniably the central figure of the entire competition. And yet, he is far from relaxed. Lu Sheng's uneasiness comes from one simple fact. He can't read this guy at all. Qian Yushu always carries that calm, airy expression, and it's hard to guess what is in this guy's head. However, Lu Sheng's own immortal cells keep sounding warning alarms. He narrows his eyes, trying to guess who this opponent really is, what he wants, and how strong he might be. But anyway, overthinking never helps. He notes that eliminating any potential threat early is always the right move. Besides, he has just rehearsed his ultimate technique dozens of times in the dream realm and feels confident enough to end the fight in a single blow. As the caster announces the start of the final match, the entire arena explodes into excitement. Since our boy assumed the other guy might harbor some bad intentions, he decided not to hold back. With that thought, he begins gathering power. Qian Yushu notices the shift immediately, and his expression flickers in surprise. Suddenly, when they locked eyes once again, Lu Sheng sensed the guy's psychic energy. That very sensation reminds him of the same feeling that had been stalking and spying on him before. He remarks internally that of course it must be Qian Yushu, that nosy 13th level psychic master. Now 100% sure the guy is up to no good, Lu Sheng rockets forward. The moment Qian Yushu feels the force behind the charge, he senses real danger and panics a little. Lu Sheng's fist crashes down with terrifying weight, but Qian Yushu vanishes right as it lands. Looking upward, Lu Sheng finds him floating mid-air. Blue energy spreads behind him, forming countless swords that rain toward Lu Sheng like a storm of blades. This finally sparks Lu Sheng's interest. He laughs to himself, squeezes his fists, and remarks that this punch carries the strength of tens of thousands of stars, asking silently whether his opponent can possibly withstand it. Just then, a blinding light erupts as he counters the incoming sword energy. Far shields his eyes with both hands, desperately trying to see what's happening. He asks aloud whether the match is seriously about to end right at the start. When the light finally fades, Lu Sheng stands amidst swirling dust, scanning for his opponent. Feeling Qian Yushu's presence behind him, he admits inwardly that this guy is impressive, adding that he's far stronger than Monroe ever was. Qian Yushu remains silent, though his expression turns far more serious. With a few sharp gestures, he used another technique. A blade materializes at his side, glowing blue and dangerously sharp. When he points toward Lu Sheng, the sword suddenly expands. Lu Sheng, momentarily stunned, notes that this looks exactly like the flying swords from cultivation stories. The guy isn't a martial artist at all, he's practically a full-fledged cultivator. The next second, waves of sword energy surge toward him. He blocks with both arms, but a streak cuts across his face. Shocked to see the attack could even breach his defense. But instead of discouraging him, the sensation only fuels his fighting spirit. He prepares to unleash what he calls that move, eager to find out whether the sword is sharper or his fists are tougher. In the next heartbeat, he struck forward. The spectators watch as several wounds open on Lu Sheng's body, and comments that Qian Yushu is anything but weaker than Monroe. Meanwhile, on Yamu's side, both watch the clash unfold, unable to gauge Qian Yushu's true strength. Still, they agree on one thing, saying he's definitely above 12th level, and judging by the three rules swirling within him, they concluded he's so much stronger than Monroe even beyond anyone currently seated here. They can't help but wonder how someone like this even slipped into the tournament. The senator, stroking his beard, quietly worries that the man might have his own motive. If Qian Yushu truly intends to harm Lu Sheng, he remarks that he'll have no choice but to deploy a level 14 star-shifting cannon and erase him entirely. As for all those rumors about Qian Yushu being some reincarnated powerhouse from another universe, he says that he couldn't care less. 10 of those reincarnated prodigies still wouldn't be worth one Lu Sheng in his eyes. Meanwhile, Qian Yushu studies the massive sword floating before him, noting that the sword formation is now complete. He runs some quick calculations, converting power systems, cross-checking cultivation levels, and concludes that this strike could injure even a 13th level in this universe. He remarks to himself that even Lu Sheng won't stand a chance. With a chilling smile, he further added that he was ready to finish that one thing he came here to do. On Lu Sheng's side, he continues smashing apart the waves of sword energy. Then a small grin spreads across his face. He remarks inwardly that the real show is only just beginning, but for everyone else, they were nowhere near as calm. From the scale of that sword alone, they realize Qian Yushu has also reached 5 limit breaks. Lu Sheng's earlier strike that defeated Monroe was already 5 limit breaks, and now there's another monster on the field. The chief executor quietly admits that even if they tried to stop the match now, they would only get caught in the aftermath. Far, watching Lu Sheng throw punch after punch, clenches his own fists and remarks that this is outrageous. He believed most 12th level senators haven't reached even 4 limit breaks, and here it was, one immortal and one from an alternative universe battling it out. Back on the stage, Lu Sheng finally grows impatient. His arms raised before him, he brushes aside the sword energy with a powerful flick, then a powerful aura erupts behind him. The caster, practically choking on his own astonishment, asks whether this was Lu Sheng's martial avatar. At a glance, it spans at least 500,000 meters. Some spectators remark that they've never heard of anyone wielding such an enormous avatar, especially someone who is only 10th level. They don't even dare to imagine how big it will become at a higher level. Now it was our boy's turn to hover in the sky, but Qian Yushu refuses to believe an avatar can block his attack. Just then, energy floods into the massive sword, and with a roar, it plummets toward Lu Sheng. So our boy surges forward together with his martial avatar, intercepting it head-on. One hand reaches up, closing around the blade's tip. He knows the martial avatar alone can't withstand this attack, so he activates his 4th divine ability, the golden stellar body. In the next heartbeat, the entire sword cracks under his grip and shatters. Qian Yushu's expression collapses into disbelief. Such a result, he notes, should be impossible. Lu Sheng's counterpunch smashes through what remains of the sword formation, reducing it to dust. Watching his treasured flying sword crumble, Qian Yushu feels despair creep in. His mind spirals as he asks, at least internally, what kind of monstrous creature Lu Sheng even is. Lu Sheng can't be bothered to answer. He steps forward, lifts a hand, and essentially announces that it is now his turn to return the favor. Qian Yushu hastily summons another flight sword to block, but it breaks instantly. The power behind Lu Sheng's punch forces blood from his mouth, sending him staggering backward. At the same time, he can't get over the fact that his sword, even reinforced by the entire formation, was capable of wounding a 13th level, but somehow Lu Sheng stopped it barehanded. He simply cannot comprehend how that is even possible. The senator, meanwhile, has long run out of words to describe what he's witnessing. Lu Sheng had already shocked him plenty of times this tournament, but what he just saw surpasses even that. At this moment, Lu Sheng's strength has far exceeded anything he believed possible, and yet he isn't sure what the true ceiling of an immortal-level prodigy is. The chief executor, however, calmly points out Lu Sheng's one weakness. After thinking it through, she remarks that perhaps only his 11th level psychic power is lagging behind. But the moment she thinks it, she lets out a helpless laugh, because calling peak 11th level a weakness feels almost like a joke. Back on the stage, Lu Sheng's fists keep hammering Qian Yushu, driving him backward step by step. The guy retaliates with another flying sword, sending it straight for Lu Sheng's head. Yet it didn't even leave a mark this time. Qian Yushu swears internally. He can't run, can't dodge, can't escape, and there's only one technique left. Clenching his hands together, he summons another flying sword. This time the blade doesn't shatter outright, it only cracks. He grits his teeth, but blood spurts from his nose. Lu Sheng pauses, slightly surprised. He noted he didn't even touch him, but the guy is already bleeding. With that thought, he breaks into a wicked grin. Seeing the expression, Qian Yushu finally panics, mentally begging him to stop. But Lu Sheng, of course, has no intention of listening, so he launches another punch. The crack across the sword widens dramatically. More blood gushes out. With a mischievous laugh, Lu Sheng continues the beating until the poor guy spits out a whole mouthful. He doesn't stop there. Instead, he cheerfully notes that Qian Yushu is basically a little humanoid fountain at this point. By now, the guy has completely loses composure. In utter rage, he unleashes another attack, this time fueled entirely by psychic energy. But Lu Sheng casually waves a hand, and the psychic attack scatters like dust. That was Qian Yushu's last trump card. Feeling his strength drain out of him like water from a broken jug, he collapses to his knees and admits defeat. Lu Sheng, however, has no plans to offer mercy. A streak of energy fires straight toward Qian Yushu's forehead, punching through his skull. A second later, a tiny creature bursts out of the body, muttering angrily that he'll remember this grudge and get revenge next time. But before he can escape, Lu Sheng catches him with a single hand. The little creature panics instantly, begging to be released, saying that Lu Sheng already won and should just let him leave. Lu Sheng disagrees entirely. He knows the guy was up to no good, and he's not about to leave such a danger at his back. As the creature screams, Lu Sheng simply opens his mouth and eats it straight up.